It's Thursday, September 22nd, and it's noon on a rather rainy day in Bethesda, Maryland. And this is news that you can use from YAA with your hosts, Zach and Ray, or as I like to call us, Team Shevska.
Sound check, please. Every day we're futzing with the microphone, so I want to make sure it sounds good.
That sounded horrible. Just saying that.
Oh,
no
shit.
No, we're fine.
It's right there.
So there's a little thing, look at that. You got it out of the way.
All right, Dad, let's kick things off. Today, we have more Toyota production cuts. Give me 1 second here. That is a black box, but that
is a white and black box
now. White and black box, Dad. Toyota production cuts. Another 100,000 vehicles in October and 50,000 vehicles being taken out of production in November. Not good.
Glad I'm not waiting on a Toyota.
Really bad.
Oh, what a feeling.
This comes on the heels of Jack Hollis earlier this year, the vice president of North American sales, saying we were down to a 36-hour supply of Toyotas earlier this year.
Yes.
This is chip shortage related, isn't it?
Chip shortage and supply chain issue related. They had hoped to be producing cars in 900,000 vehicles worldwide in October and November, so they could hopefully hit their year-end pace that they were expecting. I think of 9.7 million vehicles produced. But they've been forced to cut 100,000 cars out of production next month, in October, and another 50,000 out of production in November. And I would say that's probably still subject to change. Probably shows October when you think about it.
Absolutely.
They're struggling. They're just having tremendous difficulties with getting the parts that they need for their just-in-time manufacturing to be able to produce the vehicles that they need to produce. And yes, this hits them hard domestically in their home markets, but it also impacts European and North American car sales because they just can't get the type of production they need to satisfy the demand that still is out there for Toyota products.
Let's look at the data that we have from our friends, and we don't know them, but I will continue to call them our friends, over at 4Eyes.
Yes.
Everyone can access this data. This is from April 2020 to September of 2022, new car inventory levels at Toyota dealerships, and I've also got Honda.
Okay.
The reason I did Honda as well is because Honda is actually struggling even more than Toyota. So everything we say for Toyota, like ramp it up, I don't know, like 25% for Honda. New inventory at Honda is down 81.8% from April.
Why don't we just call it 82%?
82% from April 2020 to September of 2022. Toyota down only 61.4%. Let's look at it, Dad, by model.
Oh, my God.
You and I were just looking at this just for Toyotas before.
Yes.
Holy cow, man. Honda Odyssey inventory down 92.5%. That means if you were trying to buy a Honda Odyssey,
you should have your head examined.
Because the price is going to be either way marked up.
Yes. And you're never going to find it.
Or you're going to be waiting for a year for
it.
Honda Civic inventory down 91.4%. Honda Accord down 87%. CR-V inventory, the top 5. There's not even a single Toyota in there until the 4Runner. That's down 71.8%.
And if you're Honda, and I know we started this by talking about Toyota, but if you're Honda, the fear running through top executives of permanently losing market share and losing loyal customers has really got to be weighing heavily on your minds. I mean, they've spent decades developing a really loyal customer base. There are Honda fanatics, Toyota fanatics. I mean, real fans of the brands. And these people would religiously go and buy another Toyota or a Honda. Well, if you're a minivan person and you've liked your previous Odyssey and it's time for a new one,
you're getting a Pacifica this time. You don't have a choice. You're not getting a Sienna. You're not getting an Odyssey.
No.
You're not getting the new Kia Carnival. You're getting a Pacifica because there's actually inventory.
It's and this can this can permanently impact market share and brand loyalty. Now, the only good thing is if you go from an Odyssey to a Pacifica, is that after you've had the Pacifica, you'll probably go, it's not quite the vehicle the Odyssey was. I'm going back. But the fact is that you've lost that customer for probably 3 to 5 years. And that, if that doesn't scare those top executives, I don't know what will.
I'm going to pull it up on the screen. We got a lot that we're actually about to jump through, but this comes from Cox Automotive data, and we know the days supply data from Cox Automotive is inflated because they also consider vehicles that are in transit.
Yes.
They probably consider the 45,000 vehicles that Ford has sitting around waiting for parts as an inventory.
To finish,
but it's like, but I think this still tells an interesting story because it's relative to one another.
Yeah.
So we are looking at the days supply of inventory by segment. So they say nationwide there's a 40 days supply of inventory. There is not a 40-day supply of new car inventory. Absolutely not. Jack Hollis, again, it was like a month and a half ago now, said there was a 36 hour of on-hand inventory for Toyota. Full-size cars is where we have the biggest.
And if they've doubled it, it's up to 72 hours. It's a 3-day supply.
Full-size car inventory data is at the highest end of the spectrum, maybe like a 63, 64-day supply of inventory, okay? Hybrids, 20-day supply. Subcompact cars, 20-day supply. High-performance cars, we'll leave that out for now, but around 20-day. Compact cars, 24, 25, 26, 27-day supply. Minivans, 28-day supply. I mean, EVs, mid-sized cars, like the ones that people actually want have the least amount of inventory. And then you look at the manufacturers that people love. Let's pull one more in here. Name another Asian brand. Or actually, let's do a comparison of an Asian brand to a U.S. Or a domestic producer, like Chrysler.
Do Chrysler. You could look at the Pacifica.
Do Pacifica essentially. Chrysler inventory is down 73.8%. Wow, they've had some spikes up there.
Yes.
That's pretty wild. Let's see. Pacifica inventory down 84.2%. So your bright spot is the fact that that's only down 8% more. And also the bright spot is that Chrysler typically has way more on-hand inventory to begin with.
Yes.
So their bar was higher.
Much higher incentives.
Much higher incentives.
Yes.
Toyota's incentive spend is around $600 right now.
Yes.
I actually want to take a peek. I really want to do this. So we were saying Odyssey.
Okay.
I'm just curious what Honda Odyssey inventory is. Let's do new Honda Odysseys. New. This is doing a nationwide search. This says there's 1,700 nationwide for sale.
That's not a lot.
Look how many are in transit.
Probably most of them.
In transit. Yeah, in transit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just going to see a lot of them that are, wow, look at it. I mean, seriously, like, just on this one page, 1, 2. So on the page, there's 3, 5, 8, 10. There's 13 listings on the page. And of the 13, Dad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 60% of them are in transit.
Yep. And probably spoken for.
So, Dad, we've got maybe 1,700 Honda Odysseys in inventory for sale in the United States, and maybe 40% of them are actually for sale.
Yes,
and
the 60% that are in transit, probably 95% of that 60% of those vehicles are already pre-sold, spoken for, have a reservation on them. It's lunacy.
It really is.
Yeah.
Friendly reminder, we have the Fall 20 promo running for YAA membership and Fall 100 for the extended warranty. So if you are going to join the YAA community, make sure you use one of those promo codes. And we still have the integration with CarWiser. If you're going to sell a Toyota or a Honda, now's probably a pretty good time. So get multiple offers. Go to the website, get the offers there.
I would think either one of those brands will bring top dollar on a wholesale level from the players out there that are looking to buy those type of vehicles, especially Toyota Honda stores that can't get new inventory. So they're going to want good, decent quality used Hondas and Toyotas for their lots.
I think Mustafa's got it right on 40% demo and 60% already sold.
Yeah.
It's probably what it is.
I would think.
Something like that. All right, Dad, I actually want to turn our attention to IC Cars. They put out some research that I found interesting, but also I think I think it's going to get picked up. I've already seen it get picked up on CNBC, for example. And I want to debunk it a little bit. We have a video that'll come out on the YAA channel about this, but you'll see it.
And this time when we say our friends at
These
IC,
are our friends. Yeah, we like IC Cars. Well, actually, Julie left, but it must be like paying her as a contractor or something now.
Okay. Well, she's one of our
She's
friends.
one of our friends.
Yes.
Which new cars are priced the highest over MSRP in today's market? These new cars have dealer markups as high as 24.4%. Before we pull it up on the screen, any guesses what the number one most marked up vehicle is? I know you and I know it because we looked before.
We did.
We'll take a second though to like banter. Put some guesses in the chat.
Yes.
What vehicle
please.
you think it is and how much you think it's marked up?
What do you think the percentage is, and what do you think the model or brand with the highest percentage over MSRP would be?
Yep. Yeah, and here you go, Colorado Boo. I just looked at my local Toyota dealer, and they all seem to be, quote, in transit too. So it looks like pre-ordering is becoming the norm. I had to pre-order a 2021 Prius last year, but did get it for MSRP. Yeah, Toyota's at MSRP as a deal.
Yeah, today. Absolutely.
All right, let's see here. We've got Tesla. We've got SUVs. What year was that background picture taken? I haven't seen a car lot that full in almost 2 years. Yeah, we're trying to manifest it into reality. Jerry says Escalade. We've got Lightning Z06, 100%. That's a great guess, Neil.
Yes.
The Lightning, Corvette Z06, plus 60%. Yeah. RAV4 Prime, Corvette. All right, let's see. F-150 Lightning, F-150 Lightning, EV6 in second place. Wow. And this is why, because these are great guesses from the community.
They are.
This is kind of what I would think it is too.
Mercedes-Benz G-Wagons. Yeah.
Going for 125. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's take a look at what they said. It was the research that they did, by the way, is they analyzed nearly 2 million vehicle transactions
from July through September 7th of this year.
Yeah, right down here. So this is from July to September 7th, and compared their list price to their MSRP.
Well, list price, I guess the list price that they're asking for it on the dealer's website.
Yep.
Okay.
Start from the bottom, work our way up.
Sure.
Genesis GV80, 18% over MSRP.
So,
and they're saying, by the way, that the average list price was 10% over MSRP for a new vehicle.
And if that's the case, then they're also saying that the average new vehicle is $40,000 because at 10% over,
yeah,
it's a $4,000 mark.
Sorry, Julie, but this data is not good. It's not, right? Because we know the average, well, that's transaction price. We know the average transaction price with fees and everything is $48,000. But anyway, let's keep going through it. GV80, Ford Maverick at 14, Jeep Gladiator at 18.5%. Do not pay over MSRP on a Jeep Gladiator. Like, do not. Like, I will demonstrate right now how foolish that would be. I'm going to the community. Bear with me. Come on, community. Come on, community. There it is.
I know we have good internet here compared to my condo.
Jeep Gladiator. I want to find one. I'm currently in the market. I had one. Give me a second.
Sure. We'll give you all the time you need because, I can just sit here and look pretty.
You're doing a great job.
What do you think, folks? Do you like the way I coordinated
Boom,
today?
right here.
Okay, here we go.
This is from a month ago.
Otherwise, they would have had to hear about how I coordinated down to my watch.
And look how tiny you are. No one would have been able to see it.
I hate that.
This is from a month ago.
Yes.
New 2022 Gladiator for $2,433 below invoice.
Okay. So then why is anybody paying 18.5% over MSRP?
Exactly. Got it for $5,500. All right. Again, the reason we're talking about this is because it's going to end up on your nightly news. Whatever. Do not buy into this. You know better. The Lexus, yeah, there's some validity to that. The Mini hardtop, maybe. Mercedes-Benz GLB, maybe. This Corvette needs to be higher up on the list.
You would think.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Porsche Cayenne, Cadillac CT5, very confused about that. Jeep Wrangler?
The Unlimited. That's the Unlimited.
Bronco, I believe Bronco.
Yes.
Broncos have had crazy markups. The Lexus RX 450h, Genesis GV70, the Porsche Macan, and a Jeep Wrangler.
So all the cars that the people guessed.
Nowhere on the list.
Which are cars that I would have thought would have been on the list.
Yep.
The Escalade, the Z06.
Where's the Telluride?
The Lightning. So I'm not sure what what information they've really provided. Nothing against our dear friends at that was 4i's or IC Cars at IC Cars. But maybe they're just scraping dealership websites like we do. And maybe the reality is that the prices that are listed on the websites are 24 point some percent higher.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you can negotiate them off. Or in many cases, apparently, the dealers aren't listing a price for an Escalade or a Z06, and you go in, and that's when you find out that they want $40,000 market adjustment. So I'm not quite sure where they came up with their information, but if that's the type of information that makes the nightly news and gets picked up by other news organizations, I don't think that's painting a true picture for consumers today.
No, and it's going to be used as leverage at the dealership.
Oh, absolutely it is.
When in reality, we should be referencing the Black Book data or like literally, I don't know. It's very challenging to see things like that come up, and then someone goes into a Jeep dealership and pays over MSRP on a Gladiator when they could have saved $7,000 if they
off of MSRP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see.
That's crazy stuff.
It really is. All right, Pops, we had just yesterday, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but let's talk about it. We had interest rates go up, federal funds rates go up another 75 basis points. We've got some commentary, actually. I didn't ask you to review this, so it's A-okay, but we have some commentary. No, we do. From Jonathan Smoke, the chief economist over at Cox Automotive. Fed quest for pain already reducing demand in auto.
Who didn't see that happening?
Yeah, so everything's happening kind of as we would expect. The new dot plot reflects that they want rates to be 1.25 points higher by year end, another 25 points. Bips.
That's 25 basis, a quarter of a point.
It's called bips. You ever hear that? Bips. 25.25 bips. I'm just saying.
Bips, 2023. Basis points. Everybody knows that. I mean, that's part of everybody's everyday lexicon.
So we're seeing interest rates continue to go up. We looked at the CFPB data yesterday.
The who?
CFPB data just the other day. This is not a good...
I've never had anybody hit me with so many acronyms at one time.
This is a truly transformative, I think, moment for the car market. I really do. I think it is transformative because you have those dealers sitting on inventory. We're watching used car prices go down. We're watching new car prices go up. Consumer demand is going to continue to go down because the interest rates are going up. The demand, it's a truly, I'm going to continue to use transformative. Things are going to look and feel different as we round out this year, I think.
I think if the Fed's hope of continually raising the Fed rate, the borrowing rate from the Fed, if their hope is that's going to control inflation, and it's going to control inflation because businesses won't want to borrow as much money to expand their businesses. They won't want to borrow as much money to maybe add additional employees. I've read numbers as high as that they expect possibly for 1 million people to lose their jobs between now and the end of the year because of these rate hikes. So that I guess will stop inflation, but my God, that's got to throw you into a recession. If people stop buying altogether, which I think is part of the hope, that'll bring down or put anti-inflationary pressure on the market. So it should bring prices down. But if you've taken so many people out of the market because of the higher prices, and then you've taken so many more people out of the market because they've lost their employment. I don't necessarily see that as a true recipe for success. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm a Paul Volcker guy or Ben Bernanke. I don't, I've never studied the economy like those folks have studied the economy, but I guess if you're getting paid, you're okay with it. If you're not getting paid, this is going to get ugly for you.
Yeah. And I think also at the dealership level, as they're holding on to inventory, we've seen CECL reserves go up.
Yes.
We've also seen the floor plan loans that they have extended to them. Some getting called essentially because the collateral's not worth as much and the interest they have to pay is going
just
up.
Asking for additional payments to bring the collateral in line.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could get ugly. But the fact that there's the shortage of new cars, that severe shortage of new cars that we just talked about with your Asian brands, how is that going to translate into lowering the prices of those vehicles? If there's any type of demand and there's still such a short supply, can there be enough lessening demand that it would impact the dealers having to lower their prices? I don't know.
And some prices aren't even going to get lowered, especially on new vehicles, because we just talked about 20% increases or supplier
7% to 20% price increases from suppliers to the OEMs, because the cost of raw materials to build the parts that they need to build to supply to the OEMs keeps going up, and they're passing those costs on to Ford and GM and Stellantis and every other manufacturer out there. So the inflationary pressure is just continuing. It would almost take a worldwide economic collapse.
We're not hyperbolic here.
In order to bring things down to the point where it can start to make sense again. I mean, one of the things that I read when we were reading that, in the cost of electricity and some other things is 10 times higher today in Europe than it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's 5 times higher today in the United States than it was 2 years ago. And a lot of that is attributable to the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So the impact, this worldwide impact from that war, is just making it difficult for people to afford even everyday things, let alone luxury things like, I don't know, an automobile at this point.
Well, automobile definitely is luxury at this point. And I'm not sure if we brought it up on the show, so let me just share it on the screen. There was an article from Reuters republished in Automotive News, suppliers hiking charges for all automakers, not just Ford. Ford came out and said recently they're expecting an extra $1 billion in supply costs.
Yes.
From the most recent quarter, which was a surprise to their investors, sent their stock down that day.
Yes,
Auto parts makers contacted by Reuters said they have raised prices on parts in the range of 7 to 20%. This is why you should expect new car MSRPs for the next model year to be considerably higher.
They're going to go up. They are going to go up. If the automobile manufacturers are forced to pay somewhere between 10 and 20% more for the goods that they need to produce their vehicles,
we're going to pay.
Ultimately, the consumer is going to pay that 10%, that 10 to 20%. It's not going to happen in one fell swoop. They're not going to just raise the price 10%.
Yep.
But they will. I would suspect that they will do a couple of price increases during the course of the 2023 model year.
It's going to be like Tesla. They just raised their prices kind of arbitrarily. I want to pull up a couple comments from the chat.
Okay.
And I've got one other story I want to turn our attention to. SML Auto Sales, thanks for being here. Used car prices will jump back up in the future. New cars super expensive, less new cars in production. Used car prices will definitely jump back up like we've seen them. I agree with this 100%. There is a period. I don't know exactly when it's going to be. I don't necessarily think it's spring of next year because I think consumer demand will still be lower. But I was actually even thinking about on my bike ride to work today, Dad. You know what I was thinking to myself? We should be buying the dip, man. We should be buying minivans right now or something, because they're gonna appreciate. Used minivans will appreciate. Used cars will appreciate again, I think, because you cannot have this much new car supply issues still and not expect that 3 years from now, like the demand will be back. It'll eventually bounce back.
But you can't sit on a used car for 3 years. If you build a new car and you don't have all the parts for it, and you put it out in the field with 45,000 other new cars.
That's what Ford's doing.
And they sit for months and months and months.
It's still what Ford's doing.
Okay, a lot of issues develop. It's no different on a used car.
Fair.
Rodents don't.
I gotcha.
They don't care if it's a 52 Chevy whose wiring harness they're eating or a 2022 Chevy. They don't care.
I'm just saying, man, like eventually used car price. I agree with that. I don't know when, but eventually used car prices will go back up. There will be another increase in appreciation, I think. How could there not be?
No, if the only way that there won't be is if there's a much broader economic collapse than what we are necessarily
I'm
anticipating.
thinking just your run-of-the-mill economic collapse.
Well, I don't know that when there's a war going on and there's threats that there are from certain countries, that it'll be just a run-of-the-mill economic collapse. I don't because once it gets cold, okay, and the cost to heat your house skyrockets dramatically, not just here in the United States but worldwide, because of the gas shortages and everything. I mean, those could be major impacts that we're just saying, oh, people will get through it. Well, yeah, eventually they will, but at what cost?
Let's switch gears.
Okay, I'm a gear switcher. Really? You gotta be kidding me. I can't hear it, and I even have my hearing aids in. What did I say?
Earlier this year,
Hertz.
Was it this year? No, it was last year. Earlier this year, Hertz signed an agreement with Tesla.
Yes.
To take on, I don't know, 40, 50, 100,000, 75,000.
No. It was 100. It was 100,000 Teslas.
100,000 Teslas.
And I think they signed a deal to buy 65,000 or 75,000 Polestars.
They also signed a deal with Tom Brady, and they went bankrupt.
Yeah, but they went bankrupt first.
Yeah.
Okay, they went bankrupt.
Orders of operation.
Yeah. They went bankrupt. They came out of bankruptcy. They ordered 100,000.
It was let's get the order right.
They ordered 100. They ordered 100.
Wait.
Yeah.
False arrests of their customers.
Oh well, that's
ongoing.
Yeah,
ongoing.
Yeah,
bankrupt.
But so bankrupt.
Tom Brady. No, Tesla.
Order 100,000 Teslas. Hire Tom Brady to say, hey, guess what? You can go rent a Tesla.
Couldn't actually rent them at that point.
Yeah,
in time,
but they got the commercial. Then they agreed to buy 65,000 Polestars, and now they've signed a deal with GM to buy 175,000 electric vehicles from GM over 5 years.
Why do you think this is the real? You got to be kidding me. There's two reasons I thought it would be appropriate.
Well, I guess it helps get the government to we hope to have 50% of all vehicles sold in this country electric vehicles by 2030. Yeah, you sell them all to your rental companies. They're not in a position to be able to even produce that many cars.
Last quarter, Dad, how many EVs do you think GM produced?
50,000?
Lower.
40.
Lower.
20?
Lower.
10?
Lower.
Oh, come on.
7,000.
Okay, that's 28,000 a year. If you're producing 7,000 a quarter.
Another part is it's Hertz, and Hertz just kind of like they make me chuckle because of their business. But Dad, it's also the price point, right?
So what's 5 into 175,000?
35,000.
Okay,
40,000.
No, it's less than 40 because 5 times 4 would be 200,000.
Yeah, it's like 30. Yeah, I don't know.
30 some thousand.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have to produce for Hertz somewhere in the area of 35,000 EVs annually. Right now, they can produce about 28,000 for altogether. And they have how many orders pending?
Well, they're just going to have normal retail demand
but,
as well.
But their Silverado must have a ton of orders.
No, definitely.
The electric Silverado.
The new Equinox, yeah.
Yeah, so where are they producing these cars? How that's great. You know what's good about that? It makes a nice headline.
Let's put out a press release. Let's say we're buying 175,000 EVs. I don't know what we're doing with them.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we need to legally sign something that says we're doing it. we could probably just put out a headline.
Yeah. YAA.
YAA's buying.
YAA considering buying 175,000.
Yeah,
Considering buying 175,000 EVs from GM over the next 5 years to compete with Hertz.
Yeah, and it's like they're not going to be able to deliver them. We're not actually going to buy them. It's perfect.
Oh my!
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it really is. So GM wanted a headline,
and Hertz
wanted a headline, and you know what that headline cost both of them? Everything inside of this circle cost them absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay. And I guarantee you that, if they get 10% of that over the 5 years, it'll be okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Because if you can't afford, I guess the realization is coming to everybody that, well, if people really actually can't afford to buy these vehicles, we might as well sell them to rental car companies so they can at least rent them to people, and they can just use them when they need them.
It'll be pay for fascinating. I know we've talked about this when they become used vehicles. I'm fascinated by that. Used rental cars are already interesting because the Carfax reports aren't there. You don't know the service history. You don't know.
Yeah.
And then battery
degradation.
How
exactly they've been tracked.
There's gonna be a lot of very confused shoppers buying an sold off Hertz Polestar 4 years from now. It's just
the only good thing about it is if you want to spend some quality time with one, like I would be interested in renting a Polestar for a weekend, so you get a feel for it. That, something like that. But my goodness,
headline schmedline.
Well, it that should be under the BS section in automotive news.
Well, a lot of automotive news probably should be. Yes. All right, guys. Friendly reminder, join YAA.com. If you're buying a car, use the car search. I still see questions come in. Hey, how do we know how many days a vehicle's been on a dealer's lot? I know your nose is bothering you. We'll be off in just a second.
It's itchy.
So if you go to Honda Accord.
Yeah. You look up a car.
It literally says it once it loads.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Accords.
If it loads, yeah.
29 days on market, 51 days on market, and click into it.
Yeah.
You can then scroll down. You can see the price history. When it was new, it was a $27,000 vehicle.
Used, it's a $32,000 vehicle. Go figure.
All right. So that's if you're going to buy a car. If you're going to sell a car, get multiple offers in one place. We're actually seeing some. I mean, the strength of offers are obviously down as wholesale used car prices have gone down. But even this week, have seen some strength of offer go back up from certain dealers. So please, if you're going to sell a car, get the quotes here. Partnership with CarWiser. Insurance.
Yes.
It's been incredible to see that so many people are buying there, and it's awesome. I guess the marketing from Progressive works. Everyone's bundling. Everyone's getting their renters and their auto.
Nobody's got bigger bundles than we do. The home of the big bundle.
We've negotiated some discounted rates, some subvented rates with some of the carriers. So please use our quote comparison tool if you're going to buy insurance. The warranty, nothing has changed there. Finance and refinance. Had a great call with Georgia United Credit Union yesterday. It was like the 4th or 5th call. We are so close to the finish line of being up and ready to go with them. And I'm just so excited because we're finally, we'll be able to help you get gap insurance. We'll be able to help you get buy rate financing. I mean, partnering with credit unions, I think, opens up so many opportunities for us. And so all of that.
Well, and it's the opportunities for consumers out there.
So please, if you're interested in YAA and eventually Car Edge having credit unions that you can tap into, please fill out this form, because right now it just puts you on a wait list, but it shows us that there's a lot of interest as we navigate that, because it's time consuming. Like, these credit unions do not move fast. I am learning that firsthand. They move kind of slow. I hope that they move fast on the application process.
Oh,
but
that part they do.
Because they want to fund loans, but negotiating these deals is a bit tricky.
Well, you're learning things.
Absolutely. Every day, man.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right, Pups. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We will have a fun Friday show tomorrow.
Yes, we will be back here tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, with more news that you can use from YAA. And unfortunately, I hear Miss Kimberly Klein will not be with us tomorrow. She's a bit under the weather. No, I didn't give her anything. She lives in West Virginia. I live in Bethesda, Maryland. No. But
send her some well wishes.
Yes, please. We hope Kimberly feels better soon. If I can, perhaps I'll try and send her some chicken soup.
Godspeed.
Yes.
See you, everyone. Thanks so much.
See you all back here tomorrow, everybody.